The stars stretched endlessly outside the window of the starship Eclipse. It was quiet, too quiet. Commander Rex Halden sat alone in the control room staring at the dark screen. They had been traveling through the outer silence zone for weeks, a place where no ship dared to go. The air felt heavy, like the universe was holding its breath. Then suddenly the silence broke. A strange sound cracked through the static. "Find me before they do." The words were soft, a woman's voice, and then gone. Rex leaned forward. "Did anyone hear that?" he asked. His crew turned to look at him. Lieutenant Mara frowned. "Commander, there's nothing on the comms." You must have imagined it, but Rex knew what he heard. It wasn't imagination. It was too real, too close. He tapped the console again. "Run a deep scan. Frequency 9.32. Check for repeating signals." The ship's sensors hummed. Static filled the room. Then the same voice returned, this time clearer. "I'm waiting." In the dark of Varya, every person on the bridge froze. The name Varya was forbidden, the place where entire fleets disappeared centuries ago. No one returned from that part of the galaxy, Mara whispered. "Sir, Varya's a death zone. No life, no power, no stars, just emptiness." Rex's eyes narrowed. "And yet someone's calling from there." He opened the ship's map. The signal came from the far edge of the Varian system. A lifeless world marked Planet X-12. The coordinates pulsed faintly on the holographic screen, like a heartbeat. "Could be a trap," said Jalen, the ship's engineer. "Could be a ghost signal bouncing through time. We go there, we might not come back." Rex stared at the flickering light for a long moment. He felt something deep inside, a strange pull like gravity from another life. "Plot a course," he said finally. "Sir?" Mara looked shocked. "You can't be serious." "I am," Rex interrupted. "Someone's out there, and she needs help." The crew exchanged uneasy looks, but no one argued further. Orders were orders. As the Eclipse moved through the dark, the stars seemed to fade. The closer they got to the Varian system, the colder the air became. The ship's lights flickered, and the metal hull groaned like it was resisting the journey. Rex stood near the viewing deck, eyes fixed on the distant world ahead. It wasn't like any planet he had seen before, a gray sphere glowing faintly with blue lightning beneath its surface. Mara joined him quietly. "You really think someone's alive down there?" Rex didn't look away. "I don't know, but I feel like she's calling me." "Commander," the AI voice echoed through the speakers. "Energy readings are unstable. The atmosphere is radioactive. Entry is not recommended." Rex smirked slightly. "When did we ever follow the rules?" He walked back to his seat. "Prepare for descent. Full shields." The ship entered the planet's orbit. For a moment everything was calm, then the storm began. Blue lightning tore across the sky, slamming into their shields. The Eclipse shook violently. "Shields at 60%, Jalen shouted. "We can't hold this for long." "Hold it steady," Rex yelled. "We're almost through." A burst of light exploded in front of them. For a split second, the entire planet vanished, replaced by a giant structure, floating in the atmosphere, a throne made of light, half buried in the clouds, and standing on it was a figure, tall, glowing, watching them. The ship's lights flickered again, and the figure disappeared. The readings showed nothing, but Rex saw her clearly. Silver armor, long flowing hair, eyes shining like two small stars. "Did anyone see that?" Rex asked, voice shaking slightly. "See what?" Mara replied, checking the monitors. "There's nothing there." Rex leaned back, whispering to himself, "She's real." Then, silence again. The storm stopped as quickly as it began. Every system went dark. The engines died. Even the backup lights flickered out. Total blackness. Rex could hear his own heartbeat. Then, from the shadows, the same voice returned, this time inside his head. Soft, calm, too close. "Welcome, human." Rex froze. "Who are you?" he whispered. The voice replied, "You found me, but now they will find you." The ship suddenly dropped, falling fast through the storm clouds, alarm screaming. The crew shouted as the planet's surface rushed toward them. Rex grabbed the controls and shouted, "Hold on!" A final flash of light filled the sky, and then much silence. Only the echo of her voice remained. "Find me before it's too late." Smoke filled the air inside the ship. Sparks danced across the control panels as the Eclipse crashed through thick gray clouds. The ground came fast, a blur of ruined towers and broken land. Then, silence. Commander Rex Halden opened his eyes. His head ached, his vision blurry. The ship had landed hard, half buried in dust. Everything outside was still. No sound, no movement, no wind. Just a dead world. Status, he said weakly. Lieutenant Mara coughed, pulling herself from the floor. Engines offline. Power cores damaged. Oxygen holding steady for now. Rex looked through the cracked viewing glass. The land stretched endlessly, black sand, twisted metal, and what looked like the bones of a city. Towering ruins reached toward a colorless sky, glowing faintly with blue lightning veins running through them. "Is this Varya?" Jalen whispered. Rex nodded slowly. "What's left of it?" The crew stepped outside in armored suits. Their boots sank into fine dust that sparkled faintly like ash. Every step echoed, though there was nothing to echo from. The silence felt alive, like the planet itself was watching them. The air smelled strange, dry and metallic, yet almost sweet. In the distance, massive stone statues rose from the ground, 10 meters tall, shaped like warriors kneeling before a throne. The statues' faces were cracked but still looked human. Mara's voice trembled through the comms. "Who built all this?" Rex knelt beside a fallen statue. Its surface was covered in symbols glowing faintly. Not who, what. These aren't just ruins, they're memories. Suddenly the ship's AI crackled in his earpiece. "Commander?" Energy reading detected. Beneath the surface, Rex turned. "How far?" 2 kilometers north. Deep underground. Unknown source. He stared toward the direction of the signal. A faint blue light flickered far in the distance like a heartbeat calling them closer. "Let's move," he said. That's where the voice came from. The journey was slow. Strange shapes half buried in the sand. Giant metal hands, broken armor, collapsed towers that hummed quietly. Sometimes the ground trembled beneath them as if something deep below was still alive. They finally reached a massive crater. At its center was a circular platform covered in dust and old symbols. In the middle stood a tall black crystal pillar pulsing with soft blue light. Jalen scanned it. Old tech. Power source still active after all this time. As they approached, the pillar suddenly reacted. The symbols around it lit up in one by one, forming a glowing path beneath their feet. The light spread outward, circling the crater like a giant door unlocking itself. Rex raised his weapon. "Stay sharp." The ground shook. Dust rose in a wave, and the center of the crater began to sink, revealing a hidden elevator made of shining silver metal. The structure descended slowly into the dark, humming softly like it was waking from a long dream. Rex stepped forward, his heart racing. "She's down there." Mara grabbed his arm. "Commander, wait. We don't know what's inside." Rex looked at her. Neither did the first explorers who found Earth's moon. Sometimes, to know the truth, you have to fall into it. He stepped onto the platform. The others followed hesitantly. The elevator dropped, deeper and deeper through layers of glowing stone and silent machines. After a long descent, they arrived in a massive underground chamber. The walls shimmered faintly, covered in vines of blue energy. In the center stood a giant glass capsule floating above the ground, filled with golden mist. Inside it, a woman. She looked almost human. Long silver hair flowing around her, armor that glowed softly under the light. Her eyes were closed, her hands crossed over her chest like she was sleeping. Rex felt his breath catch. He took a slow step forward. The world seemed to fade around him. No sound, no fear. Only her. Mara's voice broke the silence. "Is she alive?" Jalen scanned the capsule. "Readings are off the charts. Whatever she is, she's not dead." Rex reached out and placed his hand on the glass. It was cold, but pulsing with faint energy, like a heartbeat. The chamber lights flickered. The capsule glowed brighter. A soft hum filled the air. Then her eyes opened. 2 brilliant lights, glowing silver blue, stared right into Rex's soul. He froze. The words slipped out before he could stop them. "The most breathtaking queen I've ever laid eyes on." The queen's lips moved slightly. Her voice echoed inside his mind. "You heard my call, and now, you cannot leave." The entire chamber shook violently. The ancient machines began to wake. Energy surged through the floor, racing up the walls like lightning veins. Mara shouted, "Commander, we triggered something." Rex didn't move. He stood there, eyes locked on the queen as the entire underground world came alive around them. The Queen of Varia had awakened. The chamber trembled as ancient machines roared to life. Blue light flooded the dark halls, flowing through veins in the stone like blood returning to a long-dead body. Commander Rex Halden stumbled backward, shielding his eyes. The glass capsule split open with a sharp hiss, releasing clouds of golden mist that shimmered in the air. And then, she stepped out, the Queen of Varia. Her feet touched the ground softly, her silver armor glowing like starlight, her long hair floating as if the air itself bowed before her. For a moment, the crew forgot to breathe. She looked around slowly, her eyes glowing faint silver blue, scanning the room, and then they stopped on Rex. "You heard my call?" she said, her voice echoing in their minds, not their ears. "You came from the stars above. You are human." Rex nodded, though his voice trembled. "We heard your distress signal. We thought someone needed help." She tilted her head slightly, confusion crossing her face. "Help," she whispered. "My people said the same." Before they vanished into dust, Mara stepped forward cautiously. "Your Majesty, and if that's what you are, what happened here?" The Queen turned away, staring at the glowing walls. Images flashed suddenly, thousands of beings like her, standing in shining cities, laughing under twin suns. And then fire, screams, darkness swallowing everything. Her voice grew cold. They came from beyond the void. The Devourers. They consumed light, ate suns, and feasted on our souls. I tried to stop them, and failed. She clenched her hand, and the ground cracked beneath her feet. Energy pulsed from her body, shaking the chamber. Jalen panicked. "Commander!" "Her power levels are rising fast." Rex raised his hand. "Easy, she's not our enemy." The Queen's glowing eyes turned toward him again. "Not yet," she whispered. The lights dimmed. The holographic walls began to shift, showing scenes of war. Starships burning, cities collapsing, creatures of shadow tearing through light. Rex stepped closer. "How long have you been here?" She looked distant. "Time means nothing now. I sealed myself in crystal to survive, but I also trapped my curse. Every time I wake, something dies. The planet falls deeper into ruin. My power feeds on life." Her words chilled the crew. Mara whispered, "She's draining this world just by breathing." Rex felt a strange ache in his chest, and not fear but sorrow. She looked like a goddess, but her eyes carried centuries of pain. "Then why call for help?" he asked softly. The Queen closed her eyes. "Because I saw you. In my dreams, a human, holding the same light that once belonged to my people. You are connected to me." "What do you mean, connected?" Rex asked. She looked at him like she was seeing something inside his soul. "Your kind was born from us. Long ago, before the fall, we sent fragments of our essence to the stars, hoping life would begin again. You are our echo, our last creation." The word struck him hard. "You're saying humanity came from you?" She nodded slowly. "You carry our fire, our courage, and our curse." Suddenly the ship's AI broke through the comms, static crackling. "Commander!" "Multiple energy signatures approaching. Unknown origin." Rex looked up sharply. "How many?" "Dozens, maybe hundreds. They're rising from beneath the surface." The Queen's expression darkened. "They have found me." A deep rumble echoed through the cavern. The ground split open, and black shapes began crawling from the cracks. Tall, shadowed figures with burning red eyes, their bodies made of metal and smoke. Jalen shouted, "Hostile contacts incoming." The Queen lifted her hand. Energy flared around her, forming a shimmering barrier that surrounded them. Her voice was calm but sorrowful. "These are fragments of the Devourers. They hunt me still." Rex grabbed his blaster. "Then we fight." The Queen turned to him. "You cannot kill what has no life. Only light can destroy darkness, then use your power." Mara yelled. The Queen's eyes filled with conflict. "If I use my power, your hearts will stop beating. My curse will take you too." Rex looked at her, determination burning in his eyes. "Then share it with me. I'll carry the cost." Her gaze softened, almost human now. "You would die for a stranger?" Rex smiled faintly. "Not for a stranger. For the voice that saved me." The chamber roared with energy. The Queen raised both hands, and blue flames spiraled through the air, wrapping around Rex's armor. The shadows screamed as light poured from them like molten glass. The planet trembled again, and for the first time in ages, the underground city began to glow, alive once more. As the last shadow faded, The queen collapsed, her power dimming. Rex caught her in his arms, her eyes flickered open weakly. You have awakened the city. But the war is not over, Rex whispered. Then we'll finish it together. She smiled faintly in a sad, beautiful smile. Together. That word once meant peace. Then her head rested against his chest as the light faded. The ruins around them pulsed one last time, the lost heart of Varya beating again. The silence after the battle was heavy, the kind of silence that felt alive. The ground still glowed faintly blue, like the planet itself was breathing again after centuries of death. Commander Rex Halden knelt beside the queen, holding her in his arms. Her armor no longer shone. Her silver hair, now dull, fell across his shoulder like soft threads of moonlight. Stay with me, he whispered. Her eyes fluttered open, glowing weakly. You shouldn't have done that, she murmured. You've taken my curse, Rex frowned. If that means I get to save you, then I'll carry it. She looked at him for a long moment, something like sadness and warmth in her eyes, and then touched his chest. A faint light passed from her hand into him. The pain hit instantly, sharp burning spreading through his veins like fire. He gasped, falling to one knee. What's happening to him? Mara shouted. The queen's voice echoed softly. He's linking to the core. To Varya itself, the ground shook again. The walls lit up, brighter and brighter. Ancient machines hidden beneath the surface began to move. Pillars rose from the ground, humming with life. Jalen stared in awe. The whole planet's waking up. Rex struggled to stand, his breath heavy. He felt power inside him, wild and unfamiliar, like the planet's energy was alive within his blood. He looked at the queen. What did you do to me? I shared my bond, she said softly. Now Varya knows you. It recognizes you as one of its own. They stepped out of the chamber into a massive hallway that had been sealed for thousands of years. As they walked, lights followed them, bright white veins racing along the walls, opening hidden doors and reactivating floating drones that hummed to life around them. The hallway led to a massive open space, a city beneath the planet's surface. Towers of crystalline steel stretched into darkness, bridges suspended in midair, waterfalls of glowing blue energy flowing between them. It was beautiful and impossible. Mara's voice shook. This place is alive. The queen stepped forward slowly, her voice soft and filled with wonder. The heart city of Varya, once home to billions. It still remembers them. She lifted her hand and holograms appeared. Ghostly images of the Varian people walking, laughing, living. Children ran through golden streets, soldiers bowed before her throne, and twin suns shone through transparent ceilings. Rex watched quietly. You rebuilt all this? From memory? She shook her head. Not memory, faith. My people built machines that could dream. They remembered what I could not. Suddenly, the images flickered. A deep alarm echoed through the city. Red symbols appeared across the walls. Jalen cursed. We've got movement. Something's entering the system. The ship's AI broke in again through static. Commander, unidentified fleet detected at high warp. Multiple ships inbound. Estimated arrival 12 minutes. Mara looked up, fear in her eyes. The Devourers? The queen's expression hardened. They have followed my signal. They always do. Rex turned to her. Then we fight. We have weapons here, right? She nodded slowly. Buried deep beneath the core, but they were never meant to be used again. What kind of weapons? Jalen asked. Her eyes glowed faintly. The kind that burn suns. Rex took a step closer, his voice firm. Then we use them. Whatever it takes. The queen looked down as if ashamed. Last time I used the core's power, I destroyed my own fleet. My people's energy, their life. It became the fire that ended them. That's why I slept. To stop the curse from spreading, Rex said quietly. You can't run from it forever. Maybe this time you won't be alone. Her eyes softened again. You speak like a king. I'm just a soldier, Rex replied, but I don't leave people behind. The queen smiled faintly, a rare, fragile smile. Then you will lead Varya's last stand. She raised her hands and the entire city responded. Towers straightened. Walls glowed brighter. The sound of machinery echoed across the depths. Old weapons awakening. Lights turning to life. The air filled with a rising hum that made the ground vibrate beneath their feet. This world remembers war, she said, and now it remembers hope. Outside, above the black clouds, the eclipse's sensors lit up, hundreds of red dots emerging from hyperspace. The Devourer fleet was coming. Inside the shining city, the Queen stood beside Rex on a high platform, her eyes reflecting the rising lights of Varya's awakening. "This is your world now too, human," she said quietly. "You carry its fire. Protect it." Rex looked out into the endless dark, then let them come. The Queen lifted her hand, and a deep sound rolled through the air, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. The dead world of Varya had risen again, and somewhere in the distance, space itself began to tremble. The sky above Varya burned with stormlight. From the ground, it looked as if the heavens were opening, a sea of red stars stretching wider every second. But they weren't stars. They were ships, the Devourer fleet, descending like a swarm of black fire. Commander Rex Halden stood beside the Queen of Varya on the city's highest platform. The air trembled with energy. Every tower below them pulsed with blue light, preparing for war. "How many?" he asked. Her voice was calm, but her eyes showed fear. "Too many? They come for my heart, and for the power that sleeps beneath us." Rex clenched his fists. "Then they'll choke on it." He turned to his crew, who were now positioned at the old control stations of Varya's ancient defense grid. Mara's voice came through the comms. "Human fleet approaching from orbit. Reinforcements in 3 minutes." Jalen shouted, "Shields online! Core reactors at 85%. Rex smiled faintly. "Looks like we're not alone after all." The Queen stepped forward, her armor glowing brighter. "The humans. They answered your call?" Rex nodded. "They always do. When the universe turns dark, someone lights a match." The Queen looked at him for a long moment. "Your people were born from ours. Perhaps the courage never left." Then, the first impact. The sky lit up as the Devourer ships opened fire. Red energy blasts slammed into Varya's shields, shaking the ground like thunder. Lightning streaked across the atmosphere, painting the ruins in firelight. "Hold formation," Rex shouted through his comms. "Return fire on my mark." Hundreds of Varian defense drones rose from the city like silver birds, their wings made of light. They spiraled upward, forming glowing lines that met the black swarm in orbit. The battle for the sky began. Laser fire filled the darkness. Human warships and Varian drones fought side by side, weaving through explosions that painted the void in red and blue. Inside the control tower, Rex and the Queen moved together, reading the battlefield like one mind. She controlled the energy weapons with graceful motions of her hands. He commanded fleets with quick, sharp orders. Mara's voice came again. "Commander, we've got heavy losses." "They're using star drainers. They're sucking the energy from the suns." Rex looked at the Queen. "Can your core stop that?" Her expression turned grim. "Yes, but only if I open the solar gate." "What's that?" She hesitated. "A weapon that draws power from the sun itself. It burns everything, enemy and ally. Last time I used it, I killed my world." Rex's jaw tightened. "If you don't use it, they'll kill every world." She looked into his eyes, searching for doubt but finding none. "You would risk your people?" "For mine?" He smiled. "Your people were mine all along." The Queen closed her eyes. The city lights dimmed. The ground began to hum, deeper than sound. A pulse felt through the bones. "Varya," she whispered, "open your heart." A massive beam of golden light erupted from the planet's core, shooting into the clouds. The entire sky turned white. Even the Devourer fleet paused, their metal hulls shaking under the force. The Queen raised her arms, her body glowing like a living star. "This is the light they fear." Rex shielded his eyes, shouting, "Queen, you'll destroy yourself!" Her voice came faintly through the blinding storm. "Then let me burn bright one last time." The beam shot outward, splitting into hundreds of rays that struck the Devourer ships. One by one, they exploded. Silent bursts of red flame across the black sky. The light didn't stop there when it spread, burning the darkness itself. But the cost was heavy. The Queen staggered, her armor cracking, her glow fading. Rex ran to her, catching her before she fell. "You did it," he said, voice shaking. Her eyes flickered weakly. "Not yet. The king still lives." From the clouds, something enormous descended, a colossal ship shaped like a living shadow. At its center burned 2 red suns, the eyes of the Devourer king. He spoke, his voice deep and cold. echoing through every speaker, every thought. You cannot destroy the void. You are the void's children, the queen whispered, trembling. He is the one who consumed my sons and my soul. Rex stood tall, fury in his voice. Then we finish this together. He reached for her hand. Light sparked between them, human and Varian energy merging into one. The air around them rippled like a storm waiting to explode. The queen's voice was faint but steady. Two lights joined. Might burn the dark. The king's laughter echoed through the skies. Then burn, mortals. Burn and fade. Rex looked at her. Ready? She nodded once. Always. They leapt together into the beam, human courage and ancient power fusing into pure light as they charged toward the shadow that swallowed stars. And above Varia, the war of suns truly began. The universe burned. From orbit, Varia looked like a dying sun, light pouring from its wounds, storms of fire twisting across its surface. In the center of that chaos, two small figures, Rex Halden and the Queen of Varia, soared through space like twin comets of light, heading straight for the monstrous shadow that filled the sky. The Devourer King waited for them. His ship was alive, a floating fortress made of bone and metal miles wide. Its surface pulsed with red veins feeding on starlight. When he spoke, his voice wasn't sound. It was a tremor that passed through the universe itself. You bring light to the void, he said. But even light dies in time. Rex gritted his teeth. Then I'll make sure it dies fighting. The Queen's voice echoed inside his mind. Our powers are one now. Whatever happens, don't let go. Their hands locked, energy crackling between them. The Queen's silver blue light fused with Rex's human fire, creating something new, something neither human nor Varian had ever seen. Together they looked like a living star, burning bright against the darkness. They hit the Devourer's ship like a meteor. The explosion tore through layers of black armor, sending shockwaves that rattled the stars. Rex landed hard inside the ship's core chamber, surrounded by rivers of molten red energy. The Queen floated beside him, her glow dim but steady. Massive figures rose from the darkness and the King's guards, creatures with twisted metal wings and hollow faces. They lunged forward. Rex shouted, "Let's finish this!" They fought like one. Rex's blade, forged from Varian light, cut through the shadows. The Queen's power burned through every strike, cleansing the void's corruption. Each blow shook the ship, cracking its structure like glass under pressure. But for every enemy they struck down, two more appeared. The Queen's strength began to fade. Her light flickered. "Rex," she whispered, "it's feeding on my energy. It wants the core." Rex's armor glowed red, burning from within. "Then it'll have to kill me first." At the center of the chamber, a massive throne rose from molten metal. The Devourer King sat upon it, his body a mountain of darkness, eyes burning like dying stars. He looked at Rex and smiled. "You carry her fire, little human. But do you know whose blood flows in your veins?" Rex glared. "I don't care." "You should," the king said. "Your race was born from her kind, from my victory. You are the last spark of a fallen sun, a child of the devoured." Rex froze. The Queen's eyes widened. "It's true," she whispered. "When my people fell, fragments of our essence escaped into the stars. The Devourers followed that light, until it became you." Rex's voice cracked. "Then humanity is your mistake." The Queen reached out, touching his face gently. "No, humanity is my hope." The king rose from his throne, towering over them both. "Then let me end your hope." He raised his massive claw, gathering darkness like a storm. Rex looked at the Queen. "Give me everything you have." She hesitated. "You won't survive," Rex smiled faintly. "I was never meant to." The Queen closed her eyes and the world went white. She placed her hand on his chest, and all her power, all her pain, all her memories flowed into him. The light consumed his armor, his body, his very soul. For a heartbeat, Rex became the core itself, the heart of Varia, alive and furious. He opened his eyes, glowing like twin suns. The king stumbled back, shielding himself from the blinding light. Rex spoke, his voice now echoing with hers. "You took everything from her. Now I take it back." He thrust his hand forward. A beam of pure light erupted, piercing the king's chest and flooding the entire ship with fire. The Devourer screamed, a sound that shattered the stars. His ship collapsed, pulled inward by its own gravity, vanishing into a burning hole of white light. Rex floated in the middle of the explosion, the Queen's fading figure beside him. Her voice was soft, like wind through the stars. "You did it, Rex. The Devourers are gone." He looked at her, her body already turning into particles of light. "No, we did it," she smiled faintly. "You are the last human now, and the first Varian reborn." He reached for her hand, but it passed through his fingers like dust. "Wait, don't go." Her voice was fading. "I will never go. Wherever you walk, my light will follow." The light around her grew brighter and brighter until the darkness swallowed it whole. Rex was alone, floating among the stars, surrounded by silence. He looked down at his hands, glowing faintly blue. The Queen's power still pulsed inside him. He could hear her voice, soft and eternal, whispering through the light. "You've given me peace, but what will it cost you?" Rex smiled sadly. "Everything." He turned toward the dying sun of Varya. Its light was dim, but alive, and as long as it burned, so would he. He whispered into the silence. "For her, for all of them, humanity will remember." And then he drifted forward, a lone figure glowing in the endless dark, the last human carrying the fire of two worlds. The stars were silent. The war was over. The Devourer fleet gone. Their fire had faded, their shadows erased. Only the empty sky remained, filled with the soft echo of what once was. And in that endless silence drifted Commander Rex Halden, the last human, the last spark of two worlds. His armor was cracked, glowing faintly with the same blue light that once filled the veins of Varya. He didn't know how long he had been floating. Days, years, maybe centuries. Time had lost its meaning. There was no hunger, no pain, only a strange calm and the faint whisper of her voice in his mind. "You've given me peace," she had said. But peace, he learned, could feel like loneliness. He opened his eyes again. Around him was a soft white glow, not space, not light, but something between both. It felt alive, like a dream he had once forgotten. A voice came from behind him. "You kept your promise." Rex turned and there she was, the Queen of Varya, standing in the light. Her armor was gone. Instead, she wore a gown made of soft silver light, her hair floating as if touched by wind that didn't exist. Her eyes were calm, no longer glowing with power, but warm, human, and gentle. "Queen," Rex whispered. His voice trembled. "Am I dead?" She smiled faintly. "Not yet. You are between worlds, between the breath and the silence." He looked around. "This place? What is it?" "It is the heart of the core," she said. "Where light goes when it has no home." Rex laughed softly. "Sounds like me." She stepped closer, her voice low. "You carry both our fires now. The courage of man, the soul of Varya. You have become what we once dreamed to be." Rex looked down at his hands. They still glowed faintly. "I don't feel like a hero. I feel like a ghost." The Queen reached out, touching his chest gently. "You are alive, Rex, just not as you were." Her touch sent waves of warmth through him. Not pain, but memory. He saw flashes of her past, her people, her cities, her laughter, her loss, and then his own memories. Earth, his crew, the eclipse. The first time he heard her voice, he realized their stories had become one. They walked together through the endless white field. Every step created ripples of light beneath their feet. The Queen spoke softly. "The Devourers are gone. The darkness will sleep for ages, but the galaxies will need guardians, watchers who remember." Rex smiled. "You mean us?" She nodded. "If you choose to stay." He stopped walking. "Stay? Here? With you?" Her gaze met his. "If you stay, you will live beyond time. But the humans out there, they will never know your name. Your world will move on without you." Rex looked into the distance and the faint glimmer of Earth's sun light years away. "They don't need to remember me," he said. "They just need to survive." The Queen stepped closer. "Then you must return. The gate will open only once." He felt a pull, a growing light behind him like a portal forming from the fabric of the stars. Through it, he could see fragments of space. His ship, his crew, and the living light of Varya reborn as a new dawn. He turned back to her. What about you? Her eyes shimmered. I will stay here with the core. I am its heart and its memory. If I leave, the balance will fade. Rex shook his head. After everything we've done, I can't just walk away. She smiled sadly. You're human, Rex. You were never meant to stay in eternity. You were meant to live and to remember. He hesitated. Will I see you again? The Queen lifted her hand, placing it gently on his cheek. Every time you look at the stars, I'll be there. In the light. In the fire. In the quiet moments between breaths. A tear rolled down his face and was glowing faintly blue. He smiled through it. Then I'll never stop looking. The portal grew brighter. The Queen stepped back, her body dissolving into soft rays of light. Her voice lingered, whispering like the wind. Goodbye, my last human. Rex turned toward the gate and stepped through. When his eyes opened again, he stood on a small hill of sand under a pale sun. The war was gone. The air was warm. The ruins of Varia stretched before him, but they no longer felt dead. Flowers of glowing crystal grew between the stones. He looked up at the sky. Stars shimmered above, gentle and bright. He smiled faintly. You're still watching, aren't you? The wind carried a whisper, soft, familiar, eternal. Always. Rex closed his eyes, letting the light wash over him. The war of suns had ended. The darkness had fallen. And the Queen of Varia lived on, beyond time, beyond death, in the heart of the last human who never stopped believing.